Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, because we are losing that hot, humid and thundery air mass that we have had the last couple of days. It is moving away overnight tonight into Tuesday, but by Thursday into Friday it could return once again as we see another push of southeasterly winds. Could see a bit of a role reversal though. It could be more thundery in the south and warmer and drier in the north, whereas the past day or so it has been thundery in some places in the south but drier and hotter, and further northwards that's where we've seen a lot more of the widespread rain, so it could flip on its head come the end of this week. As we look at the longer range, we do see it continues to be warm and humid in towards this weekend. It could turn drier for all, and we could see temperatures still in the mid to high 20s. But again, we could see a massive flip into next week as a lot of the runs are starting to show a north or northwesterly wind arriving, bringing potentially the coldest air mass we've seen in many months since mid to late springtime. Now again, it's not going to bring anything too ridiculous, but below average temperatures, feeling pretty chilly and autumnal after a very summery week this week. We'll look at that in more detail in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now if you start on the live radar, you can see the main area of thunderstorms that have been moving from southern areas yesterday and overnight towards more northern areas throughout today, and now starting to push off the north coast of Scotland. Kind of remnants now, with just a larger area of heavy rain that formed along that weather front. You can see those some thunderstorms still out in the North Sea heading towards Norway and Denmark, but again they are way out of our scope now. You can see though a few more heavy thundery showers breaking out across parts of the West Midlands, Northwest England and Wales, but again slowly decaying away, and for most this evening it is drier, still a bit stuffy out there, but that will reduce overnight into Tuesday as we do see generally fresher air moving in. Now to look at the temperatures, recording this around 9:30, you can still see it is stuffy and warm in the south and the east, but much fresher in the north and west, and that cooler air is coming in for all before, as I said at the start of the video, that humid air could make a return in around 48 to 72 hours time. Now to go over to the latest UKV and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. We do actually still have a thunderstorm warning issued until midnight tonight, but it hasn't been updated, and as I said from the live radar, it doesn't look like we're going to have too many more issues overnight tonight, so we're not going to look at that. We'll go straight to the UKV. You can see the remnants of the heavy thundery showers are exiting out of Scotland overnight tonight. A few heavy showers elsewhere where we pinpointed across parts of the West Midlands, but they should decay away as well, slowly but surely into the early hours of Tuesday. Could linger in a few spots, but they should become lighter and dissipate away. Into Tuesday, could again be a few showers around, maybe a couple of them heavy, but you can see that wind is coming in from the west, so it is going to be turning much cooler and fresher. Now that will dominate much of Tuesday, and as we head into Wednesday, a similar picture. Showers around, not complete washout conditions, but there will be some hefty, slow-moving showers. So if you are unfortunately placed under one of these, it could be a miserable day, but for 80-90% of the British Isles, there'll be plenty of dry weather, sunshine coming out, and again, feeling fresher, around the high teens, maybe touching 20 degrees. But into Thursday, we see that wind direction change. It comes in from an east to southeasterly direction. Now, this time of year, easterlies can go two ways. It can bring a cooler Arctic air mass, or the beginnings of an Arctic air mass. Can't really get anything truly cold until November, December, but could bring cooler air in, or it could bring humid air. Depends if it's got a southeasterly tilt or a northeasterly tilt. Here, it has got a southeasterly tilt, so it's a hot, humid air mass moving in, and you can see where we have low pressure towards the south, this little cut-off low developing, could see more heavy showers and thunderstorms across southern England. Now, nothing too extreme initially, but it could break out into a larger area of storms, especially Thursday and more into Friday. Lots of heavy thundery showers there, and yeah, it could be really quite horrible across the far south coast. Again, all depends on the positioning of that low. How far northwards that rain does go. Here, mostly M4 line southwards, but it could be pretty severe where it does occur. But as I said, complete role reversal to today, for some yesterday. we're seeing the heavy thundery rain in the south. Further northwards, it's bone dry, lots of sunshine, and those temperatures will be really warm, as we'll see in a minute. The upper air temperatures are rising significantly, well above average for all. You see that line of heavy thundery showers continues through Friday before slowly decaying away into the weekend, but still could linger with some more heavy thundery rain in the far southwest. As I said though, upper air temperatures are very warm as we head into Thursday. You see that wind direction shifts to a southeasterly. We see a warm front coming in, and that brings in this very hot air mass. Look at it, mid to high teens in places. Nothing record breaking, but definitely warm enough, as I said, to give widespread low to mid 20s, even up towards northern England and Scotland through Thursday, Friday. And it slowly starts to peter into Saturday, but still very warm there nonetheless. If you look at the max temperatures, you can see as we head through Tuesday, max temperatures peaking maybe 24, 25 in the east, but we still hang on to some heat and some humidity, but for most, it's down into the high teens. As we head into Wednesday, all areas will be fresher, and you can see the top temperature maybe a 20 or 21 at best, but most kind of 15 to 18 degrees. So much cooler, much fresher, but again, kind of the expected September temperatures. As we enter Thursday, still nothing too amazing, but starting to increase slightly, more high teens, maybe touching low 20s. And then look at Friday, very warm and humid, 25, 26 degrees for much of the Midlands, Northern England, the whole of the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, and for many parts of Western Scotland, sheltered from the cooler sea breezes off the North Sea. Temperatures widely low to mid 20s. The worst conditions are southern parts of England, that M4 line southwards, struggling to get much above the mid to high teens, all because of that heavy thundery rain. And if we transition to Saturday, it's a similar picture, still very warm across the Midlands, northern England, especially away from those east coasts. Again, you can see this cool line towards eastern Scotland and northeastern England, and that is because of sea breezes in off the North Sea. It is inevitable with these sort of winds, but you can see again, inland, that warm air mass, temperatures really rising significantly for early September. But again, southern and southwestern areas really cool with all that heavy rain. Again, it all depends on that position of the low. That low's further northwards, then more cooler, rainy, thundery conditions will be more widespread. But if it is further southwards, which is highly likely or highly plausible, it could be 50, 100 miles further southwards, then even southern areas could be seeing mid-20s or even high 20s with more strong sunshine. So we'll have to wait and see, but another very hot and humid spell coming later this week for a few days, and again accompanied by some significant thunderstorms in southern areas. But if we do have a look at the longer range, as I said, things could be all changing for next week. You can see, again, this low pressure system dropping to our south over the coming hours and the next sort of couple of days, and then we see that easterly wind, but with low pressure to the south, it allows thunderstorms to really take over in southern areas, but very warm, hot, humid air coming in from the east, and you can see that here. It's that division between the cooler, fresher air under that cut-off low and the hot, humid air. That's what's causing all those thunderstorms, that barrier between those air masses. Beyond that, we stay warm into the weekend and even the start of next week. But look what happens. High pressure moves out into the North Atlantic, and we start to see potentially northerly winds starting to arrive. Now, the GFS isn't too clear-cut with these northerly winds, but other runs are a little bit more clear-cut. And you can see even here, we start to see those fresher air masses moving in. Blues starting to push in from the north, indicating that a much fresher air mass could be on the horizon. Now, if you compare to the GEM, which is a bit more bullish with that colder air mass, again, low pressure sinking to our south, those easterly winds causing thunderstorms across southern areas. The low pressure is sat a bit further to our south, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did zoom in here to see perhaps more of that precipitation across northern France. Yes, a lot more of it's across northern France or the Channel. So here, we'd actually likely see those temperatures very high in southern England there for Friday, and for some on Thursday and into Saturday as well. So again, we'll have to really keep a close eye on that, because we're seeing sort of different runs here, showing maybe 15 degrees on the south coast, maybe 25 degrees on the south coast, all dependent on where those thunderstorms do occur. But the one thing that really is standing out on this GEM run is that high pressure out into the North Atlantic. And look at this, northerly winds being unlocked towards day 10. And even though it's a very slow moving indirect northerly, it's not a ridiculously potent northerly wind, it does bring in a very chilly air mass for the time of year. Look at all those blues descending on us from the north, and I wouldn't be surprised at those temperatures. Pretty cool indeed. Look at those temperatures in the day, struggling in some to get into the double digits, at best mid-teens, but many low teens. And again, doesn't sound terrible if we were in the middle of winter, for example, but coming out of a week where it's been 25 degrees, hot, humid conditions, and coming off the back of the summer, it will be a real shock to the system, especially with that wind coming in from the north. It will feel chilly if this does occur. If we compare to the ECMWF, again, broadly very similar, that low sat to our south, again, a bit further southwards. So again, I have got decent hopes that perhaps even southern, especially southeastern areas could stay dry. Southwest, a little bit more up in the air because that will be closer inevitably to the centre of this low, but we'll have to wait and see over the next day or two. And then again, towards day 10, we see that northerly wind arrive, and it's actually a lot stronger northerly wind, and it looks very potent indeed. And again, the 0 degree isotherm coming in for all. And if we do zoom in, you see the temperatures by the afternoon of next Thursday, mid-single digits for much of Scotland. For areas further southwards, 13, 14 degrees at best. And with a brisk north to northwesterly wind, it will be feeling pretty chilly indeed. You see those upper air temperatures are down to what you'd expect in sort of mid to late autumn or even early winter, not what you'd expect for the beginning of September. Now, if you finally compare to the ensembles, you can see it's dropping towards average or slightly below average the next day or two. That's why it's going to be fresher, high teens at best, maybe touching 20 degrees. Much warmer, drier, hotter air mass later this week. Not for southern England though, probably be a lot more precipitation around. You see that with a lot of these spikes. But if we look at Glasgow, for example, further northwards, you can see it is a lot drier for the same period. Complete role reversals here. The hot, dry weather looks like it will be coming for much of the Midlands, Northern England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland, and for many in Wales probably as well. But for southern England, where we usually get the hot and the dry weather, a lot more often than areas elsewhere, it is going to be a complete role reversal. It's going to be cool, wet, and horrible if these runs are correct. But as we saw from the GM, these that bring that low further southwards, they could be incorrect, the latest UKV at this stage, and a lot of these ensemble members. Beyond that, though, we all turn a bit drier for next week. But it does turn cooler and eventually turns potentially colder with increased precipitation with those low pressure systems coming in from the north or the northwest. Again, we'll have to wait and see how that does play out. But yeah, it could be pretty horrible indeed as we head into that middle portion of September. If we look at the 2 meter temperatures, again, pretty decent, widely 20 plus degrees over the next few days, maybe mid-20s by the weekend, again, depending on the position of that low. And then the temperatures really fall away. And if we do see that real fresh air mass moving in, we could be struggling to get much above 15 degrees if that does occur. If you compare to the ECMWF as well, again, the midday run hasn't fully come out, unfortunately, but we'll have a look at the midnight run. Very similar, pretty much a carbon copy, much warmer air mass later this week. Again, will be warmer further northwards, a lot wetter further southwards, and then a general slow trend towards something a bit fresher. Not quite as bullish with those colder runs in the longer range, but definitely showing it back towards average and definitely a lot fresher. One thing that will show up very nicely to emphasise this cooler air mass is those dew points. You can see very warm mid-teens dew points, and then a lot of runs down towards single digits, some even getting towards freezing dew points, which is again an indicator that we're going from warm, humid air to something a lot cooler and a lot fresher. And you can see that, as said, from the majority of dew points here towards the single digits, whereas at the moment we're looking at mid-teens for many. So again, signs it is turning cooler, it's turning fresher as we head into next week. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how it does play out, but we could see a big flip over the next week or two. Very warm, humid conditions over the rest of this week. Maybe Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, slightly fresher. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, much warmer, like summer once again. And as I said, with thunderstorms potentially in the south. And then it's the next week and generally for the middle portion of September, it looks like we could see autumn properly arriving with much fresher and cooler conditions. It was inevitable, it was going to happen, but we have seen a nice little delay to autumn so far, and it's likely to last the rest of this week. We'll have to wait and see though longer term, but definitely strong signal for something fresher, cooler, unfortunately, to be arriving in the near future. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.